Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're grappling with a question as old as humanity itself. What if the most powerful force shaping human destiny isn't quite what you expect?
Hmm.
And what if the answers to life's biggest questions are actually closer and maybe more profound than you could ever imagine?
Well, we're drawing our insights today from some really profound ancient wisdom, specifically the teachings of Swami Vivekananda.
Right.
He challenged us to look beyond, the superficial interpretations.
Hmm.
He suggested that these ancient philosophical inquiries can offer a surprising shortcut, really, to understanding ourselves and, well, the entire universe.
Okay.
Our mission today is to unpack these ideas, try and make them relevant to your own quest for meaning.
So let's start with religion itself. Our sources call it arguably the most potent shaper of human destiny. It's this kind of peculiar, powerful energy that often proves stronger than even bonds of race or climate. It seems to underlie all social organizations, providing this deep, cohesive impulse among people.
Indeed. And modern scholars, they've offered various theories for its origins, trying to explain this pervasive human drive. One prominent idea suggests it began with ancestor worship. Think of ancient Egypt.
Right, the pyramids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That belief in a double meant the dead body had to remain intact, leading to mummification, the pyramids, all that.
Okay.
The Babylonians also had a similar idea, though their double apparently lost affection and sought sustenance. We see strong threads of this, even in ancient Hindu and Chinese practices.
And then there's the other theory alongside ancestor worship that points to, like, personifying nature's powers.
Right. Attributing consciousness to the sun, storms, the ocean, things like that.
So we have these two sort of distinct origins presented.
And it's precisely these seemingly distinct origins that Swami Vivekananda brilliantly synthesizes. He argues the true spark, the real germ of religion, isn't just ancestor worship or nature worship,
Okay.
but rather this universal human impulse, the struggle to transcend the limitations of the senses. So whether early humans were seeking the spirits of ancestors or trying to understand the power behind nature's, stupendous phenomena, it was always this desire to go beyond what our senses perceive.
Right. They couldn't just be satisfied with what their eyes and ears were telling them.
Exactly. There's this feeling of something more.
So the core insight here is that religion isn't just ancient dogma. It's rooted in this fundamental human drive to look beyond the immediately apparent. It's that persistent feeling that there's more to reality than our senses show us, and that's the engine behind all spiritual exploration.
Yeah, and that means it isn't just ancient history. It's about a longing that, continues to resonate within all of us today.
Okay.
And as this search inward intensified, our sources say humans began to discover higher states of mind states described as neither waking nor sleeping. These are the states often called ecstasy or inspiration. It's not just about wishing for more. It's about tapping into what Vivekananda calls the supersensuous.
Super sensuous, like beyond the senses.
Exactly. A way of knowing that goes beyond sight, sound, touch. Think of maybe a sudden, undeniable gut feeling or a profound artistic inspiration.
Right, that flash of insight.
Yeah, that direct insight that seems to come from a different level of perception.
That's a powerful claim, then. Are you saying the profound wisdom of figures like Buddha or the rishis, those ancient seers who gave us the Vedas, wasn't just brilliant thinking, but actually came from a different state of consciousness?
That's precisely the assertion. The founders, prophets, messengers of all organized religions are said to have entered these states. The rishis, for example, weren't just thinkers. They were seers of mantras. They realized facts in a supersensuous way, not through, intellectual effort or reasoning alone.
They saw it directly.
Yes. And Buddha, too, is said to have found his eternal moral law while sitting under the Bodhi tree, entering such a profound supersensuous state. His teachings came through this direct realization.
Right.
So this makes a tremendous statement. The human mind, at certain moments, transcends not only the limits of the senses, but also the power of reasoning, coming face to face with facts it couldn't otherwise perceive. These, the source argues, are the foundational facts of all religions.
Okay, so if these profound insights really come from beyond our usual ways of knowing, how do we then, talk about them? How do they get translated into concepts we can grasp?
Well, they often do get translated. When these spiritual insights are shared, they tend to take the form of what we could call universal ideals.
Like
Like an all-pervading being, maybe an abstract personality called God, a fundamental moral law, or a pure underlying essence.
Okay.
And interestingly, even modern attempts to preach religion without appealing to the supersensuous often end up using these same kinds of abstractions, just with different names like moral law or ideal unity.
So the drive for these non-sensory ideals remains, even if the language changes.
Exactly. It's like different maps pointing towards the same unseen territory.
The insight here is crucial then. Deeply meaningful knowledge might not always come from conventional sources, what we see, touch, or even logically deduce.
Right.
Think about it for yourself. Have you ever had one of those aha moments where an understanding just clicks and it feels like it came from somewhere beyond pure logic?
That sudden insight that transcends normal thought. That's what we're touching on here.
And this quest, this search for the real, amidst all the change, it inevitably leads us to the ultimate human dilemma, right?
It does. It's articulated so well in ancient texts like Katha Upanishad. When a man dies, there is a dispute. One party declares that he is gone forever, the other insists that he is still living, which is true.
Yeah, that hits hard. It's this profound uncertainty, this unrest of mind that keeps asking, what is beyond, what is real?
And so long as death remains, this question has to persist, demanding an answer beyond our fleeting experiences.
So faced with this, what are the options?
Well, humanity is often left with two main positions, according to the source. One is basically nihilism, to believe that it's all nothing. We know nothing, can never know anything for sure about the past, future, or even the present.
Just give up on the question.
Pretty much. The other position is to actively seek an explanation, to try and discover the real amidst this eternally changing and evanescent world.
And this search brings us right back to ourselves, doesn't it? The nature of who we are.
Absolutely, because our bodies and minds are in constant flux. The sources describe them beautifully, like rivers whose waters are in a constant state of flux, yet presenting the appearance of unbroken streams.
Huh. Like it looks like the same river, but the water is always new.
Precisely. No one has the same body for many minutes together, and our minds, an ever-changing whirlpool of thoughts, feelings, perceptions.
So if everything about us is constantly shifting, what's actually real? What persists through all that change?
Well, behind this constant change, our sources tell us there's an unchanging, infinite core, a true self. They call it the Atman, or simply the soul.
The Atman.
Okay. Think of it like the deep, still ocean beneath the churning waves on the surface, always there, untouched.
I like that analogy.
And because this Atman has no form or shape, it's considered omnipresent. It exists beyond our usual concepts of time, space, and cause and effect.
Because time and space are concepts within the mind.
Exactly. If the Atman is beyond mind, it's beyond those limitations too.
So if this Atman is truly infinite, well, infinite means limitless, right? So the infinite cannot be two.
That's the logical step, yeah.
What does that do to our deeply ingrained sense of having individual souls? You have yours, I have mine. Is that whole idea just not ultimately real?
That's the profound implication here. If the soul, the Atman, is infinite, there can ultimately only be one soul. All these ideas of separate individual souls are seen as, well, appearances, not the fundamental reality.
So the real man, as the source puts it, is one and infinite, the omnipresent spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the apparent man, the person we experience as ourselves with a changing body and mind, is just a limitation, maybe a dim reflection of that real boundless man.
This also sheds a really interesting light on evolution. The idea presented is that for something to evolve into its perfect form, that potential, that perfection, must have already been present or involved within its origins right from the start.
Right. So the perfect man, whether you call him Christ man or Buddha man, wasn't just created out of nothing. The seed of that perfection was latent, involved in the very protoplasm, waiting to unfold.
Okay.
So the cosmic intelligence, which you could call God, unfolds itself through this process of evolution, which leads to that phrase, in him we live and move and have our being. It's all part of that unfolding.
There's a helpful visual offered too, right? Like a big Ferris wheel.
Yeah, that's a nice image. The little carriages are like our bodies and forms, carrying batches of souls, you could say, up and down through these cycles of manifestation, birth, and death.
But the soul itself.
Eventually comes out of the wheel, transcends those cycles, and realizes its inherent freedom, its unchangeability.
Wow. That really challenges our core sense of individuality, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. What if your deepest self isn't limited to your personal history and experiences, but is actually part of this vast universal intelligence?
And that feeling of being separate is just an appearance, like a reflection on water.
That's the perspective being offered, yes.
This whole journey naturally leads us to the concept of Maya.
Mm-hmm.
And it's presented not as some deep, dark mystery to be solved, but more like a statement of facts about life's inherent contradictions.
Yeah, exactly. It's this constant mixture.
Right.
Existence and non-existence, happiness and misery, good and evil, all tangled up.
Like when a reformer tries to fix one problem.
1,000 other evils seem to pop up elsewhere. It's this eternal play of light and darkness, this duality that's just always there. It's fundamental to how we perceive reality.
There's that striking anecdote used to illustrate it about the sage Narada and Krishna.
Oh, yeah, that's a powerful one. So Narada asks Krishna to show him Maya. Krishna says, okay, but first, could you just fetch me some water from that nearby village?
Simple request.
Seems simple. Narada goes, enters the village, sees a beautiful woman, falls in love, marries her, they have children, he inherits property. He lived this whole life, apparently quite happily, for 12 years.
12 years.
Then a terrible flood comes. It sweeps away his wife, his children, his property, everything. He's left weeping on the bank, devastated.
Oh, wow.
And just then, Krishna appears beside him and asks, my child, where is the water? You went to fetch a pitcher of water, and I am waiting for you. You have been gone for quite half an hour.
Half an hour. He lived 12 years in half an hour. Expert, that story. It's really something. It just makes you stop and think, how much of our own reality is built on similar powerful illusions?
It really does, doesn't it? It highlights just how subjective our experience of time and existence can be. And that, our source says, is Maya.
A waking dream.
Yeah, like a waking dream so utterly convincing that we believe in the separate individual world it presents, even though at the deepest level there's only one underlying reality.
Yeah.
It's like confusing the movie playing on the screen with the screen itself.
So this means the world isn't simply all good or all evil. To increase the one must of necessity increase the other.
Right. The same thing can seem good one day and bad the next, or bring joy to one person and misery to another. That's the duality, the very fabric of our experienced world.
Maya is truly mind-bending then. The idea that your entire perceived reality, your sense of self, time, separate things, could be this powerful collective dream.
And the real challenge isn't necessarily to escape it, but maybe to see through its apparent solidity, to recognize the unchanging reality beneath the constant flux.
So the question for you, listening, is, what unrealities might you be clinging to, mistaking the constantly changing for the truly real and permanent?
It's a deep question.
And throughout history, people have obviously tried to make sense of all this. Our sources highlight basically three main philosophical approaches to the divine.
Right. We have dualism, qualified non-dualism, and Advaita, or non-dualism.
Let's start with the most common one, dualism.
Yeah, the source suggests that 90% of people who believe in religion are essentially dualists. They believe in a personal God, separate from themselves.
Like a great king or mighty monarch.
Exactly. A creator and ruler of the universe, seen as purely good. Though this perspective often struggles to logically explain the existence of evil if God is all-loving and all-powerful.
Right, the classic problem of evil.
And in dualism, souls are seen as separate and eternal. They might attain salvation and live eternally with God, but they never actually become God.
They remain distinct.
Yes. Their morality often comes from the idea of God's reward or punishment, and there's often a feeling of, we are the favorites of our God.
And the source points out a potential problem here.
Well, the potential problem highlighted is its inherent exclusiveness. If my God is the only true God, and yours is different, it can lead to conflict, to being bound to fight and quarrel with each other.
Okay, so moving a step closer to oneness, we get qualified non-dualism. How does that differ?
Here, God isn't entirely separate. God is seen as both the material and the efficient cause, like the clay and the potter. God is the very soul of the universe, and the universe itself is like God's body.
Ah, so more interconnected.
Much more. Individual souls are distinct, but they're eternally connected parts of God. Their spiritual growth, doing good deeds, expands their purity, while evil contracts it. God is deeply immanent here, interpenetrating everything.
Divine presence is within and throughout the world.
Exactly.
And then finally we have Advaita, non-dualism. This is presented
as the fairest flower of philosophy, according to the source. It's a really bold system. It essentially dethrones all the gods of dualism and places the self of man, the Atman, on that throne.
So no separation at all.
None. The Advaitist declares, if there is a God, that God must be both the material and the efficient cause. He himself is this universe.
Wow.
It means the Lord himself is both the material and the efficient cause. At its core, Advaita says your true self is the ultimate reality. There's no separation. You aren't just part of God. You are that universal consciousness.
So the universe we see, the one the ignorant perceive,
Doesn't truly exist as separate things. It's described as mere self-hypnotism, a projection onto the one reality. The Atman is the only reality, and it just appears as this manifold world through name and form.
which are basically time, space, and causation.
Right, those categories through which we perceive. And therefore, God cannot be objectified, cannot be seen as something separate over there,
Because
because he is the essence of our souls.
Mhm.
That famous declaration, thou art that Ushvedikatu. You are that ultimate reality.
So looking at this whole spectrum from separate gods and dualism to interconnectedness and qualified non-dualism to complete oneness and Advaita, what does this tell us about the human spiritual journey?
Are they just different paths up the same mountain?
Well, our sources seem to suggest they are, in a way. This spectrum highlights this ongoing human effort to define the divine, to grasp ultimate reality. But importantly, the Advaita perspective, while seeing itself as the highest truth, doesn't necessarily dismiss the others. It tends to view them as right views, but lower ones.
Like stepping stones.
Exactly. Each fulfilling a necessary stage, perhaps, all ultimately leading towards the same truth of oneness.
That raises a really important question for you listening then. In your own search for meaning, where do you feel you stand on this spectrum? How do these different viewpoints resonate with your own experience of what feels good or true or real?
Yeah, how does it influence your understanding? It's worth reflecting on.
Definitely.
So the journey towards this truth, particularly the Advaitic truth of oneness, it doesn't begin with comfort, apparently.
No, quite the opposite. It begins, the source says, with a tremendous dissatisfaction with the present state of things, with our lives, and an unbounded disgust for fraud and lies. It's a powerful internal shift, demanding a kind of spiritual boldness.
Like that story of the sage facing the emperor.
Yeah, telling him, you cannot kill me. I am the birthless, the deathless, the ever-living, omnipotent, omnipresent spirit. That kind of fearlessness.
Or the Swamis during the Indian Mutiny.
Right, who was stabbed and, as he was dying, looked at his assailant and calmly said, my brother, thou art he, recognizing the attacker also as that same universal spirit.
Wow. That's intense conviction.
It is, and it underscores that this isn't about blind faith, it's about realization.
Right. The source is very clear. Religion is a question of fact, not of talk.
You have to analyze your own soul, find what's actually there. Just like a chemist perceives results through experiments, we're meant to perceive these spiritual facts directly. Realize religion, no talking will do.
Talk is cheap, basically.
Pretty much. Think of that wonderful story of the lion cub raised among sheep.
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
It bleated like a sheep, ate grass, completely believed it was a sheep, until another lion came, dragged it to a lake, and showed it its reflection.
And in that moment,
The cub let out a mighty roar. Its bleeding was gone. Its true lion nature was revealed.
so the message is.
The source reminds us, you are lions, you are pure, infinite, perfect souls. The might of the universe is within you. Why weepest thou, my friend? There is neither birth nor death for thee.
It's a powerful call to recognize our true nature. But there's a warning attached, isn't there, about misunderstanding this freedom.
Yes, very important. Some might misinterpret this and say, okay, if I'm beyond all virtue and vice, then I'm not bound by any moral laws. I can do anything I like.
Which sounds dangerous.
Extremely dangerous. And the source says explicitly, this is not right. While the soul is indeed beyond law, the person who has truly realized this truth, their nature changes. They work only to do good.
Their actions become spontaneously good.
Exactly. They become a living blessing, not out of obligation or fear, but from their very being. The goal isn't license. It's liberation while living to become Jivan Muktas, liberated souls here and now.
And when this realization dawns, the whole perception of the world transforms.
Completely. Instead of seeing a hideous world or a prison house, it becomes a playground.
Wow.
Gods will live then upon this earth, the source says. This very earth will then become heaven. The vision shifts entirely.
Is it always sudden, like the lion's roar? Or can it be gradual?
It can be gradual too, like recognizing a mirage in the desert. At first you're fooled.
Yeah.
Then you realize it's an illusion.
You still see it.
You still see it. Yes, it still appears, but you know it's not real water. Over
Yeah.
time, its power over you breaks, its poison is lost, and it no longer deludes you.
So ultimately, what's the key ingredient needed for this journey, this realization?
Strength. Our sources declare strength is the medicine for the world's disease.
Strength. How so?
Monism, this idea of oneness, provides this inner strength. It allows us to throw responsibility upon ourselves. We are not weak victims of fate, but potentially infinite spirit.
Ah, so we become moral not out of fear of some external punisher.
But from an inner knowing of our true, inherently good and powerful nature. It's a call to action. Arise, awake, and find the ideal, the goal.
So we've journeyed quite a distance today, from that fundamental human quest for meaning, that urge to transcend the senses, all the way to the profound insights of Advaita Vedanta. The core idea being that behind all the changing forms of the universe, and yes, behind your own changing body and mind, there lies one unchanging, infinite, omnipresent spirit.
Yeah, this deep dive has really shown us that the real man, the true self, isn't this limited, bound individual we usually think we are, but actually a boundless, free being.
And all phenomena, all our experiences, are part of this vast illusion, or maybe play, of Maya. Yet within this very Maya lies the path to realizing our true, unified nature.
It's quite a perspective shift.
So, here's a thought to leave you with. What if that deep-seated feeling of freedom you sometimes experience, maybe just glimpses of it, even amidst your daily struggles and limitations? What if that's not a delusion? What if it's a persistent, undeniable echo of your true self, trying to break through the illusion?
And building on that, if thou art that, if you truly are, at your core, the omnipresent, eternal, ever-blessed consciousness of the universe, then what seemingly insurmountable challenges or limitations are you still imposing upon yourself?
Right, if that infinite potential is there.
What will you do to allow that inherent infinite power to manifest more fully in your life? Our sources suggest it's possible that the very air that we breathe will say with every one of its pulsations, thou art that.
We hope this deep dive has offered you not just, interesting information, but perhaps a profound seed for your own self-inquiry and liberation.
Absolutely. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep searching for that eternal truth within.